Hello everybody, this is Wolfgang again. I'm doing a new video now about my pedalboard, which looks like kind of big for mostly jazz guy, but over the last about 7 or 8 years I got attracted to effects again, and this is the end now of a long journey. So I'm explaining a little bit about my board and talk a little bit how I think about using effects, and I hope this is of any help for anybody. Just a little story in front. In the beginning, in my beginning, I started immediately using a lot of effects. It was the beginning 90s and end of 80s, beginning 90s, and we all had these racks and we all thought this is necessary. But after many years of trying, I never got a good sound out of it, even if I used decent effects. The problem was I hadn't a good sound with my fingers. So I found out I had to develop this first. So I got rid of all the effects, and for I think about 15 years I only played mainly with the amp and the guitar and didn't use any effects at all. Maybe a volume pedal or sometimes a reverb or a delay pedal, but nothing that I combined anything. Sometimes I used a little distortion pedal for this, just a little distorted sounds, but it was a big help for me because I developed a good sound in my fingers, which I think you should always do first, because the industry always gives you the idea that you just have to spend enough money, then you have a good sound, and there's nothing more wrong than that. The sound is in your fingers. Even if I change guitars, in the end it sounds like me again. So okay, saying this, now I have my pedal board, and one big thing I have is the gig rig, because in the beginning I made a board of the effects I'm using, which was mostly what you see here, and it was always tap dancing, and that kept me away from playing. So I thought there must be a solution. One of my students told me about the gig rig, about this looper, and I think this is a fantastic product. And it helped me a lot. And it's not only that you can program the combinations of your pedals, you know, just have one preset, then step from one preset to the next. It's also that the effects getting the right signal and the right power, and you can add a buffer, you can program the volume, and so the effects work better on their own. So even now, if I wouldn't need the combination of the pedal, if I would just set up one knob with one pedal and then make combinations, I would use this, because the pedal sounds much better. You know, they have the right power, they're getting the right input, and the right output is getting out. So this is a big help when you work with this combination of digital and analog effects. So if you have some vintage pedals like my TS9, which is an old one, so it makes it big and heavy. It's now 25 kilos. I think that's around 50 pounds. But when you're dealing with a lot of effects, it's a big help. Also, they are only in the signal change when you use them, yeah? So you're not always let your guitar signal go through all the pedals. So you can see this here. Every pedal has their own station. You know? You can plug in 10 pedals. I use one slot here, number 7, for send and return, and the one before for the volume. I put the volume after the distortion pedals because I don't want to change the amount of distortion when I'm working with the volume pedal. I want to always have the same distortion because I'm setting up different stages of distortion with my presets. Okay, let's go through the pedals. Polytune tuner from TC, very good tuner, very good for the stage, fast. I had a Boss before, which was good also, so. But the Polytune is more comfortable because you can tune all 6 strings, or you can at least check all 6 strings if they're basically okay, or if you have to tune them, which I should, as I see. So there's a separate out for the tuner. You have the aux out, and I put the tuner in the aux, which is, I think, recommended. So still not perfect, but anyway, good enough for jazz. So my pedals, Wampler Ego compressor. I have this on my one preset for Oh, by the way, the guitar you're hearing is my Fender American Standard Deluxe with the Lindy Fraley Vintage Hot pickups. I put out the noiseless because I didn't like them. I think they suck. And this Lindy Fraley's one are really great pickups, wonderful pickups. The guitar is from 2009. So for the funk stuff, I use the compressor, and on some distortion presets, I'm adding a little compressor more as a sustainer. But maybe this pedal has to go. I tried different compressors now. I think this is my 3rd or 4th compressor. It's the best so far, but I don't think I need a compressor. I don't know why. I worked so much on the dynamics on my right hand, and maybe that's why I don't feel the need to use one. Okay, so. But if you wanted a compressor, the Wampler Ego compressor is a great pedal. Next one here is an OTS9. It's from the 80s with the black label on the back, and I compared this to the newer ones, and there's not a big difference. I got it cheap, so I bought it. You can use the newer ones too, they are good. But the older ones are a little bit more open, a little bit more brighter, not so much MIDI, not so muddy. For the occasional freaky sounds, I'm using the Porg. My main distortion pedal is also from Wampler. It's the Dual Fusion. These are 2 pedals in one, and you can stock them or use them separately. And I have this pedal on 2 slots on my gig rig, so I can use them separately, or via the gig rig I can stack them. Very good distortion pedal, because it's a very dynamic distortion pedal, and this is something that's important for me when I work with distortion, that it reacts to my fingers, because I'm not playing heavy metal or something like this. I want to keep my sound dynamic and not too over distorted. So on the upper level there's a reverb, TC Electronics Nova Reverb. Yeah, basically okay, but maybe I will change this in the future. Actually, I'm playing with less and less reverb, so maybe I'm putting it out in the future. I don't know. The next 2 pedals, I'm sure you know, Strymon Timeline, Strymon Mobius, fantastic pedals, absolute keepers. Doing all my delays, all my long, short, blah blah delays, and all my modulation, except one detuning sound, which I do with the Porg. And in front of everything, you see, this is the guitar cable that goes in here, and then it goes in the gig rig. In front of every preset I can put the RC booster. As it's named, it's a booster, real clear booster, very good pedal. And it helps me to boost up all my presets to a solo level if needed, and also to add a little bit more distortion. Okay, for those of you who don't know the gig rig, you can check this out on the internet. It's not needed that I make a whole description about this. I just want to show you some of my sounds and go through some of my presets. which is with the gig rig, it's really great to set up these presets, because as you put in all your pedals, and you have these little sliders here, and you activate all the different combinations you want, and you can do this analog on the fly. Even on the gig you can change them, and it's a MIDI one too. So with every preset, I don't know if it's visible, but the MIDI pedals, the timeline and the mobiles are changing the presets, which was important for me, and I think this is a very good idea when you combine analog pedals with digital pedals, that the digitals also switch to the different presets. From this gig rig there's a newer version out, which is smaller and which has more presets. It has 2 banks. I thought about upgrading, but for me 14 presets are enough. I even don't use them all the time. So as the old one is working properly, and it never made any problems at the gigs. It always worked fine, and nothing is damaged, and I'm using it regularly. No need. It's an expensive looper, but it's a good one. I think there are a lot of crappy ones out, you know, especially when you use more than one effect, and if it's not really buffered, if there's not a real Class A preamp in the input and all this stuff, you can mess up your sound, but this is a very good quality. So first preset is the compressor, and the volume pedal and send return is always on, and a little reverb, just a little room. Okay. So my rhythm preset. The next one, number 2. In this case we have no compressor and volume send return delay and the reverb. Just a little delay trails to make the sound more roomy. And so now when I when I play solo with this, I can add the booster without. You see, it's mostly more volume, and it makes it a little fatter. When I hit the strings hard, it distorts a little. But when I play soft, it's still a clear sound. So next one is now with the TS9, and I'm using the Ibanez Tube Screamer only for this very soft, a little boosted, little more MIDI solo sound, nearly no distortion. You see? With the booster. presets, I'm adding more and more distortion. Now it's the dual fusion, and it's the DF1. It's the number 1 of this pedal. As I said, it's two distortion pedals in one. And I added a compressor too, because the notes ring out a little bit longer even on lower volumes. And with the booster, okay. So next one, and this is my heavy distortion preset. It's the most I know I need. The booster, it's a little more. So, as you see, the more I go up, the more distorted it gets, up to preset number 5, from totally clear to as much distorted as I needed for my playing. And the next one, that's the Tube Screamer again, with volume. It's still send return, it's in front of the amp. The Mobius, the delay, and a little reverb, and this has a little bit of a vibe effect on it, and just a very soft distortion, so I can play chords too. It's a little more distortion. Okay. The next one is just the chorus. The chorus comes from the Mobius, and it's the digital one. And with the booster. So these are the common sounds I'm using when I'm playing a gig. So the upper row now, I have some sounds I just use occasionally. Some of them I use in my Beatles project. where I'm experimenting a little bit more with effects. But generally, my approach with effects is that I don't want to put them in front too much. So I want to keep the sound naturally. I want to keep the dynamics of the guitar as naturally as possible. And I don't like heavy affected sounds in general. It should be just a little sugar cream on top, you know, on your sound. And occasionally I'm using something weird, something freaky to surprise the audience and surprise my fellow musicians. Or add a little bit to a tune, a special sound, but not too much. I don't want to overdo it. So let's see. Number 8. So this is the POG, which is on this preset, and I made myself some presets here. This, you know, on this one I use it as an octaver. Okay, sometimes funny to add this to a bass line. On my preset number 10, I'm not skipping the 9. I have the same POG without any distortion. So maybe I demonstrate the rest of the presets better here, because this is a detune effect. So the next one, on number 3, is this number 3? Yeah, that's the organ. And on my number 14, I programmed the Leslie. Then I threw this organ through a Leslie, and it even sounds more convincing. Okay, I'm using this preset sometimes when I play in an organ trio, and to surprise the audience and the organ player, because then I'm playing a solo with this preset, or comping with this preset, and now the organ sound comes from the other side of the stage, and so it's more kind of a surprising effect, more a little joke, you know, to keep it funny and not too serious. Okay, the next one on the POG is number 4, 12 string. Sometimes on Tom 40 gigs I have a use for this preset, you know, when I should play some kind of acoustic guitar parts. So next one is E-bow. It's a funny one, because here you can hear how good the tracking of the POG is. You can really play fast with this E-bow effect. Okay, no sweeping, but really playable, because the the tracking works. And the next one, octave above, and the rest ones are not in use, so I'm just using this ones. That's enough for me. Okay, let's put this back to organ. Okay, so in between the preset number 9 with a tremolo effect, I play something like Julia from John Lennon. Okay, so sometimes I'm using this just for one tune. I made this preset to have this tremolo effect, which I think works good with the ballad. Okay, our next one is 11, the quacky sound. And this is the Mobius, that's the wire from the Mobius, the filter effect from the Mobius. I used an auto wire before, but as I used this so rarely, I just said, okay, the Mobius is good enough for me for this occasional wah-wah rhythm guitar. It's okay. So number 12, I should have my foot now ready, but for the fade in. Okay, so if you need the synth sounds, I'm using this ice delay from the timeline, and I think you can hear it in the back. There's this octavation of the delay signal, and I think this is very nice, very synth sounding. So so the last one now is number 13, and this is a little distortion. With the chorus. When I play with my semi-acoustic with the Ibanez AS200, it's a little kind of Scofield sound on this. So when I play a Scofield tune, so I maybe do this. Strat is the wrong guitar, but those of you who know Scofield, they know this. You know this sound. So okay, that's basically my pedal board, and yeah, if there are any questions to this, feel free to ask. If you like this, give me a thumb up, subscribe to my channel, I hope this adds to your knowledge, and I hope that gives you an idea about the stuff I have, the pedals I have. I don't want to do an in-depth demonstration of all the pedals, because there are plenty of videos on the internet where you can hear this pedal, every pedal on its own, and you don't need one more. It's just a way to show you how I combine them. One last thing, as you see, there are going 3 leads out, which means the compressor, the tube screamer, the POC, the Wampler dual fusion, and the volume are in front of the amp. Then it goes send return, and in the return, so in the effect loop, is the Mobius, the delay, and the reverb. I think as it should be, and as you should set it up. This you can't change here. I think on the new one you even can change this, but here you can change it. You have the send and return. I have it on 7, and as I said, I want to have my dynamic pedals in front of the amp, and all the modulation and all the delays on the effect loop. Yeah, the power from the pedal board is the power is from the gig rig itself, and it's a very good one because it has 5000 milliampere, 5 ampere, so you have enough power for all the pedals, and you transfer it with this little generators. It's going out to all the pedals, and there would be some solutions that I don't have to use this one for the Mobius and the timeline, but I think it's 60 or 70 bucks to connect the Mobius and the timeline to the power of the gig rig, and not use the separate one. And it makes no sense to me to spend so much money on this. So I still have this on my pedal board, but no problem for me. Okay, so I think that's it. And yeah, see you next time. Let's see, maybe my next video next week will be another lesson. Yeah, I think it will be another lesson. And I think I'm doing it next week, so next weekend. Okay, so see you again. Bye-bye.